Okay, it will be time to play around with my original Blood Raider Vampire. I had the Ashimu long before I had the Balgorn, so the Ashimu is my original Blood Raider Vampire, so please put all the garlic away for now and put all the other items that can kill vampires, because I don't want the Ashimu to die just yet, okay? The ship has been through a lot, and I plan to fly the Ashimu for a very long time to come. Now, since the capacitor batteries have been nerfed, now the cooldown lasts 90 seconds, previously it was 60 seconds. That made Blood Raider ships more lethal because it became a little bit harder to cycle the capacitor batteries. And that made the Blood Raiders even more lethal in combat. Now, one lovely change, they finally changed the icons between the pulse and the beam lasers. Here you can take a look at the new icon for the beam lasers, and of course the new icon for the pulse lasers. I used to mix the pulse and beam lasers a lot because they did share the same icon, and let me be honest, kinda difficult to swap builds when both lasers look the same. As for the stats, they still look pretty good. They are still both very powerful. And I use both beam lasers and pulse lasers on the Ashimu, depends on the target. But still, my personal favorite remain beam lasers. However, I will admit, I've been using pulse lasers a lot more often lately, especially with the dual scrambler build. The DPS, the tank, and the capacitor. Well, the capacitor actually was a little bit changed, or should I say the capacitor runtime. That's because the cycle speed on the afterburner and micro updrive were decreased, and that overall did improve. Or should I say that did increase the capacitor usage. The velocity on all ships was slightly reduced. I think it is a 5% speed reduction on all ships. But that doesn't change much. For the Ashimu, this ship is still slow. However, it's not that slow, but at the same time it's not that fast. I will show you both the velocity with the micro updrive and the afterburner. Now, the pulse lasers work really well with dual scramblers, with dual webs as well. If you want to go and chase interceptors and frigates, then you should go with the dual webs. And dual webs are practically death for any frigate. Doesn't matter what frigate it is, if you web them, they are 100% going down. The optimal range for the pulse lasers and the scrambler does match, so a very good match to use dual scramblers on the Ashimu. This works really well in low sec, where you have a lot of ships with warp core optimizers. Works really well in null as well, but in null you can actually use dual webs and a scrambler without a problem. With pulse lasers, the capacitor is a little bit better, sitting at 5 minutes 31 seconds, DPS 586 DPS. Overall very good numbers. Now, with the micro updrive, the capacitor lasts 2 minutes and 32 seconds. However, you don't have to worry about the capacitor. As long as your target has capacitor, the Ashimu should also have enough capacitor. Now, one build that strangely was working really well is the build with scramblers and beam lasers. However, I don't use that often, but sometimes I do. And the build that I personally like to use is with webs and the classic long-range disruptor, or the point. When I say I use the point, then I usually mean the disruptor, while the scrambler is the scrambler. And that's practically all the builds that I like to use. Will I change anything on the Ashimu? Well, not quite. I personally believe that this ship, as it currently stands, is perfect, so I'll have to change something that is already working really well. However, I plan to try out a armor tank Ashimu. But for that, I will have to buy a new Ashimu and make that ship be a armor tank. Okay, now I told you that I will show you the speed of the ship and the tank as well. First, the mic warp drive with pulse lasers. The DPS, of course, remains the same. The tank is actually pretty good. I like the current numbers. I can improve that, and again, I will do that. 2 kilometers per second. The speed did get reduced a little bit, although it's nothing too drastic. It still is quite fast with the mic warp drive. My goal is to make this ship go around 2.5 to 3 kilometers per second, and I have a good idea how to achieve that. Now, let me swap into the afterburner. Also, let me swap to the dual scramblers or single scrambler. You can actually use pulse lasers with only 1 point, and of course using dual webs, that also works really well in null sack systems. The null sack is actually the best place to use the Ashimu, because most ships don't have a lot of points, don't have a lot of stabs in nullsec. Okay, let's take a look at the speed with the afterburner. The DPS, of course, remains the same, tank remains the same, capacitor is 5 minutes and 31 seconds, signature radius 90 meters, 923.26 meter per second with the afterburner. It used to go 986 meters per second, so a small decrease. Nothing too drastic. It is still a pretty good velocity for the Ashimu. Before I changed the rigs a little bit, I used to go 830 meters per second, so it's still a very nice speed with the afterburner. And my goal remains the same. I want to go 1.2, 1.3 kilometers per second with this ship using the afterburner. Now, here you can take a look at the shield and armor. The Ashimu actually has a lot of armor, so if you want to make your Ashimu an armor tank, it works really well. The armor tank is actually very easy on the capacitor, and you can make this ship also pretty damn lethal with a armor tank, and that's also one of my goals, and I'll do that probably when I buy another Ashimu. So let's undock and let's actually have some fun with this ship. Okay, I am warping towards the first target. Hopefully this is not going to be a very long warp. I have to be quick. I wish that the Ashimu was a little bit faster in warp, but I guess that would be a little bit overpowered, if you ask me. I have adjusted my orbit to 24-25 kilometers. I am using beam lasers with my classic dual web setup. And there is my first target for today. We have a Dominix. Let's quickly point and web the target. They have been pointed and webbed. Now I will go towards my optimal orbiting distance, which is 24 kilometers. So far it looks like I am doing full damage on the shield. Well, not exactly full damage, but close to full damage. So I expect a armor tank out of this Dominix. The shield on Dominix slowly going down. By the looks of it, the Dominix is using cruise missiles, and they are using sentry drones. Now, sentry drones are not a big threat. I can easily speed tank the sentry drones, and cruise missiles will not do a lot of damage on my shield. The Dominix has lost the shield, now they are into armor, and I can tell you that this is 100% a armor tank Dominix. They are now shooting at me with the cruise missiles, and with the sentry drones they use one target painter. However, with this speed that I'm orbiting with, the sentry drones are never going to be able to hit, and I am speed tanking the cruise missiles without a problem. They are slowly losing armor. I believe this is a passive armor tank, Dominix. I can definitely tell you that they have adaptive armor hardeners, but it looks like they don't have any armor repairer. Not quite sure if they have armor plates. We will see what will happen. Okay, looks like they are using a Nosferatu. But they are definitely not going to win the capacitor game with a Ashimu. The Ashimu has a nice little boost on Nosferatu and neutralizers, so my Nosferatu is more powerful than the Nosferatu on the Dominix. That means my capacitor will be in a very good shape. That is until the capacitor on the Dominix is depleted, and then my own capacitor will slowly start to go down. It looks like the Dominix has stopped shooting at me. That's weird. They are slowly losing armor. I think they are trying to warp away, but I'm holding them, so they are not able to warp away. That's a very nice nanocore. It kind of reminds me on my Balgorn. Not quite sure which nanocore this is, but it sure looks good. I like the color on the Dominix. The Dominix is now into hull, and their capacitor is also depleted. But I have almost full shield and I have almost full capacitor, so I should be okay so far. The Dominix almost at 50% hull. Surprised that they did not shoot at my drone. I had to save my drone here a lot of times. Around 30% hull left. They are still trying to warp towards the station or towards the gate, but that's not going to happen unless my game crashes or unless my internet crashes, which hopefully will not happen. And the Dominix has been destroyed. Very nice. Okay, let's take a look at the wreck. That was a nice little fight. Afterburner Ashimu is very good. I really love this build. Cannot wait to improve the speed, and I got some nice loot. Okay, let's warp away and let's wait out the criminal timer, and then we can go towards the next target. Alright, our next target is going to be a Raven. Now this Raven did warp out, and I decided to wait a little bit, and they did return right in the optimal range of my webs and right in the optimal range of my disruptors, or should I say right in the range of my disruptor, because I have only one disruptor. On the Ortus I have like 3 or 4, sometimes 2, depends on what I do with that ship. This Raven is taking a lot of shield damage from my lasers. Honestly, did not expect to do this much damage on this Raven, and I would say that they are losing shield very rapidly. A friendly Astra popped in, very interesting. Hopefully that friendly Astra is going to be safe. This Raven is using cruise missiles, and the Aster is gone. Very interesting. I guess my fleet members are watching the show at the moment. Very nice. Raven using shield. They have at least one large shield booster. And the shield is going down. Once the capacitor on the Raven is depleted, then the shield will not be boosted anymore, because the Raven will not have enough capacity to do that. Well, looks like this Raven is busy shooting at the storyline mission ships. That's a very interesting choice of a primary target for the Raven. Oh, okay, they are locking me on. Famous last words. They have 3 target painters. And yeah, they're definitely using cruise missiles. They're definitely not doing a lot of damage. I can easily speed tank cruise missiles with the Ashimu. With the afterburner Ashimu. The Raven is now into armor. They are still shooting at me. I am maintaining my orbit at 25 kilometers. My shield in a very good shape. My capacitor also in a very, very good shape. The armor on the Raven slowly going down. They use one Nosferatu, but my Nosferatu is more efficient, has more range, and overall, because of the Blood Raider effects, it's superior to the Nosferatu on the Raven, which works in my case, because my capacitor will be in a very good shape, while the Raven's capacitor is going to be depleted, and I would say that the capacitor on the Raven is depleted. However, they can use my capacitor to recharge their own capacitor a little bit, so I will keep my Nosferatu running at all times. My shield in a very good shape. Don't have to use my shield booster at the moment, but I will use my shield booster just to have 100% shield left. Raven on a little bit of hull left. My shield at almost 100%. My capacitor at 44%. And the Raven has been destroyed. Very nice. That was a very nice fight. Let me take a look at the wreck. Hopefully this Raven did give me good loot. Let me just shoot down this one storyline ship, because they can carry a scrambler, or they carry only a web this time. Okay. Well, not bad loot. Now let's warp away and let's wait out to the criminal timer. So far, it's been a very good run. 2 battleships. Not bad. Okay, time to warp towards the next target. We have a battlecruiser.
Warp drive active.
My sixth sense is telling me to warp from this position at 100 kilometers. And hopefully my sixth sense is correct. It usually is correct, but we will find out in a moment. And well, yes, my sixth sense was very accurate. Okay, let's quickly tackle the battlecruiser. They have been tackled, webbed, and pointed. They are losing shield very quickly. I would say that this battlecruiser is most likely a armor tank, but we will find out. well, they did boost their shield a little bit, so this is a shield tank Talos. They are now into armor, they are trying to shoot at me, they are using rifled large railguns, and at this range, with my current velocity, they are just never going to be able to hit me, so I'm safe from the weapons. Did the Talos just repair armor, or did I just see that wrong? Let's ignore that for now, but I'm pretty sure that the Talos did repair armor there. So that's a very interesting build on that ship. They are now into hull. Their capacitor is most likely empty, however they can use my ship as capacitor, so I will keep my Nosferatu running. Nosferatu on Blood Raider ships can be used as a neutralizer because it keeps on depleting the capacitor even after it hits 0 on your target. And well, that was a nice kill. Let me take a look at the wreck. Well, that was a very interesting build on that battlecruiser. Now, I would also like to show you, I think I had one failed attempt to tackle a target, and that's one of the examples why I like to use the Orthos for low sec.
Warp drive active.
So the Ashimu can have dual scramblers, one web and one Nosferatu, and that is more than enough for almost all targets in null sec systems, and of course it's mostly enough for low sec targets as well. But sometimes you will stumble upon a ship with 12 plus stabs, and hello there, Prophecy. That's a very good looking Prophecy indeed. A very nice nanocore or a very nice skin. In this case, dual scramblers were not enough to keep this Prophecy in place, and they warped out. So, overall, I really enjoy flying the Ashimu. Definitely one of my favorite ships and one of my favorite cruisers in the game. So, with that being said, hope that you enjoyed this little roam today. I'm definitely going to be flying the Ashimu a lot more in the future. Definitely looking forward to try and improve my builds. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.